Emisión.net.
Hello again and welcome to Letter from England, broadcasting for AC Press and the Spanish Evangelical Alliance. The Evangelical Alliance and Protestante Digital, this news agency, have launched an important new book entitled Libro, estilo, Protestante, or a book about Protestantism, which it hopes will become a manual for journalists and politicians who want to know what Protestantism is all about. Well, the much-awaited launch, which was postponed, then actually took place a few days ago in Madrid, gives Protestants an opportunity to explain to society, and particularly the movers and shakers in society, exactly who they are, what they believe, and where they come from. Several of the book's contributors were present at the launch, including the two coordinators, Pedro Tarquis and José de Segovia. The press conference was held in the offices of the Pluralism and Coexistence Trust, which has subsidized the book's publication, in the presence of its director, José Manuel López, and journalists from the major Spanish news agencies. The idea for the book stems from the perception held by many Protestants that they get a rough deal in the media, with factual inaccuracies and discrimination often the order of the day in reporting about evangelicals. The aim of the book is that it will help correct this tendency, not least by regularizing the religious language used in Spain. Jaume Llenas, General Secretary of the Alliance, said Spanish Protestantism has faced centuries of ignorance, misinformation and hostility. He said there is a Catholic worldview in Spanish society that is unavoidable, which is why Islam, Protestantism or any other religious group is viewed from a Catholic perspective. He added that the Alliance has been fighting for religious liberty for over 100 years and for accurate and pluralist information about Protestantism, values represented in the news agency Protestante Digital, which he said was never intended to be merely an internal evangelical news bulletin, but to serve and reach the whole of society. So this manual is aimed at the media to help them work better in the area of religious reporting. It's also aimed at politicians to inform them as to who we are. Juan Antonio Monroy, veteran evangelical journalist and contributor to the book, said his aim was to correct words and concepts which are repeatedly used when speaking about Protestantism, but are not only wrong, but also tend towards discrimination. He gave some examples. Their use of the term Protestant mass instead of service, the use of the term sect or cult, or confusing evangelist with evangelical. Monroy said such errors date from the National Catholicism of the Franco years, but that they persist today. Tarquis agreed, though he added that it was more due to a lack of knowledge rather than any malice on the part of journalists, and said that part of the blame lay with Protestants themselves for not doing more to solve the problem. However, he did say that one of the most harmful and recurring references in the media was that of the Church, when they meant the Catholic Church. He said this denies the existence and identity of all other churches. López, on the part of the government, observed, in Spain from the 19th century onwards, it's as if we divided into clerical and anti-clerical, but contemporary society is less believing, while the believing part is more plural. Yet he added that in the public imagination the division between clerical and anti-clerical still exists. He said his trust existed to try and help religious pluralism be seen as something which is normal. And finally he said two errors must be avoided. Firstly, thinking that everything which is not Catholic is foreign, and secondly, linking international religious conflicts with Spanish religious minorities. López agreed it was time to use correct religious terminology and adapt to the contemporary pluralist situation. The book cites 19 frequently but mistakenly used terms and recouches the errors in a way which can easily be understood by people from a Catholic culture. For instance, to show how wrong the term Protestant Mass is, they change it to a Muslim archbishop held Mass, and so on. There's also a brief explanation of several basic Protestant concepts, yet which are not widely understood in Spain, and a historical overview of Protestant customs, activities and organisation, including the way evangelical churches are generally run today. The book, as I say, has been published by Protestante Digital, this news agency, which is the market leader in Protestant news agencies in Spain. More specifically, the contents of the book offer a chapter on false terminology, one on how even an evangelical church works, deals with 6 stereotypes that cause prejudice, There's a section on Calvin and capitalism, one on the CIA and Latin American Protestantism. There's one on so-called Protestant terrorism, under the heading Northern Ireland is not the British Basque Country, neither is it the heartland of religious terrorism. One on Protestantism in education, one on evangelical sects, and one on evangelical immigrants and gypsies. Then in the final section, the historical overview, three writers look at in turn the Protestant basis of Western democracy, the history of Protestantism in Spain, and Protestantism in Spain today. Well, it's to be hoped this book will not only inform but also change the way that Protestants and Protestant activities are looked at and reported and also considered by politicians. Thank you for listening to Letter from England, broadcasting each week at emission.net. Goodbye.
Emisión.net